The hidden reason you don't believe in yourself? There's a moment. It's often quiet and unnoticed. That happens to almost everyone. It's the moment you wake up and, before the world rushes in, you feel a subtle ache, a longing for something more, something better, something that feels just out of reach. Maybe you don't even have words for it. Maybe it's just a heaviness in your chest, a sense that you're meant for more than the routine you're living. But as soon as you try to reach for that feeling, doubts start to creep in. You remember the times you tried and failed, the promises you made to yourself and broke, the dreams you quietly let go of because they felt too big, too far, too impossible. Most people think they're stuck because of their circumstances. They blame their job, their family, their lack of money, their lack of time. They look at the world and see all the reasons why change is hard, why it's not the right moment, why they're not ready. But the truth is, the real reason people stay stuck isn't out there, it's inside. It's not about what you have or don't have. It's about what you believe is possible for you. Belief is a strange thing. It's invisible, but it shapes everything. It's the lens through which you see the world, the filter that colors every decision, every risk, every opportunity. If you believe you're not capable, you'll talk yourself out of trying before you even start. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll settle for less than you deserve. If you believe you can't change, you'll keep repeating the same patterns, living the same day over and over, calling it a life. But here's the secret. You weren't born doubting yourself. You didn't come into this world thinking you were limited or broken or not enough. Somewhere along the way, you learned to doubt. Maybe it was a parent who told you to be realistic. Maybe it was a teacher who said you weren't smart enough. Maybe it was a friend who laughed at your dreams. Or a failure that stung so badly, you decided it was safer not to try again. Little by little, those moments piled up. It became stories you told yourself, stories about who you are and what you can't do, and those stories became your reality. But what if those stories aren't true? What if they're just old scripts running on autopilot, keeping you small because small feels safe? What if the only thing really holding you back is the belief that you can't move forward? Think about it. How many times have you had an idea? Real, exciting, maybe even life-changing idea, only to talk yourself out of it before you even began? How many times have you wanted to speak up, to take a risk, to try something new, but stopped because you didn't believe you could handle the outcome? How many times have you looked at someone else's success and thought, that could never be me? It's not your talent that's missing. It's not your intelligence. It's not your resources. It's your belief. Belief is the foundation of every achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation. It's the quiet force that turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. Without belief, even the best opportunities slip through your fingers. With belief, even the smallest step forward can change the entire direction of your life. But here's the good news. Belief isn't something you're born with or without. It's not a gift that some people have and others don't. Belief is something you build, something you earn, one small action at a time. You don't have to wait for belief to show up before you start. In fact, waiting is what keeps you stuck. You build belief by moving, by doing, by proving to yourself over and over that you are capable of more than you think. It starts with a decision. Decision to stop letting your old stories run the show. Decision to stop waiting for permission, for the perfect moment, for someone else to believe in you first. A decision to start acting, even if you're scared, even if you're uncertain, even if you don't feel ready. Because the truth is, you'll never feel completely ready. You'll never have all the answers. You'll never be free of doubt. But you can choose to move anyway. You can choose to take one small step, and then another, and then another. And with each step, you build a little more belief. You gather evidence that you are, in fact, capable of change. This is the hidden reason most people never achieve what they want. It's not because they're lazy or unlucky or not good enough. It's because they never learned how to believe in themselves. They never learned how to challenge the old stories, how to question the doubts, how to build a new foundation of self-trust. But you can learn. You can start today. You can decide right now that you're done letting disbelief dictate your life. You can decide that you're ready to see what happens when you give yourself a real chance. It won't be easy. There will be days when the old stories feel louder than ever. when doubt tries to pull you back into your comfort zone. There will be moments when you want to quit, when you wonder if it's even worth it. But if you keep going, if you keep showing up, keep taking small steps, keep proving to yourself that you will start to see something incredible happen. You'll start to feel a shift. You'll start to notice that the voice of doubt gets quieter, that the old stories lose their power, that the world starts to look a little different. You'll start to believe not because someone else told you to, not because you read it in a book, but because you've seen it with your own eyes. You've lived it, you've earned it. And that kind of belief, that's unshakable.
Ow.
That's the kind of belief that changes everything. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of living the same day over and over, if you're tired of doubting yourself and settling for less, here's your invitation. Start building belief. Start today. Start small. Start messy. Start. Because the hidden reason you don't believe in yourself isn't that you're broken. That you've forgotten how to build belief. And the only way to remember is to begin. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to take one step, and then another, and then another. And with each step, you'll find that belief isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. This is your moment. This is your chance. The hidden reason you don't believe in yourself is about to become the reason you finally do. Asterisk identity shift. Who you were isn't who you have to be. Asterisk. There's a comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. We cling to old versions of ourselves not because they serve us, but because they're what we know. The routines, the habits, the stories we tell ourselves, they become a kind of armor, a shield against the unknown. This is just who I am, we say, as if our identity is set in stone, as if the past is a prophecy for the future. But what if it isn't? What if the person you've been is not the person you have to remain? What if your identity is not a prison, but a starting point? Think about the stories you tell yourself every day. Maybe you say, I'm not disciplined, I always quit. I'm not good with people. I'm not creative. I'm not brave. These stories feel true because you've repeated them so many times. They've become the soundtrack of your life, playing quietly in the background, shaping your choices, your actions, your expectations. But here's the truth. Those stories are not facts. They're habits, or patterns you've practiced, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades. And just as you learn them, you can unlearn them. You can write new stories, practice new patterns, become someone new. It starts with a single decision, to stop being loyal to your old self. Loyalty is a beautiful thing, but not when it keeps you stuck, not when it keeps you small, not when it convinces you that change is impossible. You are not your past. You're not your mistakes. You're not the sum of your failures or the echo of your regrets. You're a living, breathing story, and every day is a blank page. You get to decide what comes next, but change doesn't happen just because you want it. It happens because you prove it. You prove it by making different choices, by taking different actions, by showing up in ways your old self never would. You prove it by doing the uncomfortable thing, the inconvenient thing, the thing that scares you. You prove it by refusing to let your past dictate your future. Imagine, for a moment, the person you want to become. Not a perfect person, not a flawless person, but a person who lives with intention, who honors their word, who moves through the world with courage and kindness. What does that person do differently? How do they spend their time? How do they handle setbacks? How do they treat themselves and others? Now ask yourself, what's stopping you from being that person right now? Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. The answer almost always is the story you're still telling yourself about who you are. But stories can change. Identities can shift. You are not fixed. You are not finished. You are a work in progress, and that is a beautiful thing. Start small. Pick one habit, one pattern, one belief that no longer serves you. Decide today to do something different. If you always say yes when you want to say no, practice saying no. If you always avoid difficult conversations, have one. If you always procrastinate, Take one small action right now. Each time you act against your old identity, you cast a vote for your new one. It won't feel natural at first. It might feel awkward, uncomfortable, even scary. That's normal. Change is supposed to feel strange. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're moving beyond the boundaries of your old self. And here's the magic. The more you practice your new identity, the more natural it becomes. The more you act like the person you want to be, the more you become that person. It's not about faking it. It's about practicing it over and over. Until it's real, you don't have to erase your past. You don't have to pretend your mistakes never happened. You just have to stop letting them define you. You just have to stop letting them decide what's possible for you. Forgive yourself for the times you fell short. Forgive yourself for the times you gave up, for the times you settled, for the times you believed the worst about yourself. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing the grip of guilt and shame so you can move forward. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to become someone new. You are allowed to outgrow old dreams, old habits, old relationships, old versions of yourself. The world will try to keep you in your box. People will remind you of who you used to be. They'll say, "You've changed," as if that's a bad thing. But change is the point. Growth is the point. Becoming is the point. So let them talk. Let them remember the old you. You're busy building the new you. Every day is a chance to choose. Every moment is a chance to act. Every action is a vote for the person you want to become. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to try, to stumble, to get back up, to keep moving forward. Who you were isn't who you have to be. Your past is not your destiny. Your identity is not a prison. It's a canvas. And you hold the brush, so paint something new. Write a new story. Become the person you've always wanted to be, not someday, but today. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can't change. And that belief is a lie. You are not your old story. You are the author of your new one. And the next chapter is waiting for you to begin. Asterisk. We live in a world obsessed with big declarations. Social media is full of people announcing their next big move, their new goals, their plans to change everything overnight. This is my year. I'm going to transform my life. Watch me. The words are loud. The intentions are real, but the follow-through is often missing. Why? Because real change doesn't come from what you say in public. It comes from what you do in private, when no one is watching, when the only person you have to answer to is yourself. Big words are easy. They feel good in the moment. They give you a rush of excitement, a sense of possibility. But that feeling fades quickly, and when it does, you're left with the same habits, the same routines, the same doubts. The truth is, belief isn't built on big promises. It's built on small, once-tiny commitments you make to yourself and actually keep. Think about the last time you made a promise to yourself. Maybe it was to wake up earlier, to eat healthier, to start a new project, to finally have that difficult conversation. Did you keep it? Or did you let it slide, telling yourself you'd try again tomorrow, or next week, or when life calms down? Every time you break a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you chip away at your self-trust. You teach yourself that your word doesn't matter, that your intentions are just empty talk. But the opposite is also true. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you build trust. You prove to yourself that you can be counted on, that you are reliable, that you are someone who follows through. And that trust is the foundation of self-belief. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one thing, just one that you can commit to today. Maybe it's drinking an extra glass of water. Maybe it's taking a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's writing down one thing you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to be real. The power of small promises is that they are manageable. They don't overwhelm you. They don't require superhuman willpower. They just require consistency. And consistency, over time, creates momentum. Momentum creates progress. Progress creates belief. It's not about proving yourself to the world. It's about proving yourself to yourself. When you say you'll do something and then you do it, you send a powerful message to your brain. I can trust myself. I'm capable. I am changing. That message, repeated over and over, rewires your mind. And it replaces doubt with confidence, hesitation with action, fear with courage. Don't underestimate the power of micro-wins. They are the building blocks of transformation. Each small promise kept is a brick in the foundation of your new identity. Stack enough of them, and you'll find yourself standing on solid ground, able to reach higher than you ever thought possible. Of course, there will be days when you slip. Days when you break a promise, when you fall back into old habits, when you feel like you're not making progress. That's normal. Change is messy. Growth is not a straight line. The key is not to be perfect, but to be persistent. When you fall, get back up. When you break a promise, make a new one. When you lose momentum, start again. Forgive yourself for the slips. Don't use them as evidence that you can't change. Use them as reminders that you're human, that you're learning, that you're in the process of becoming. The only way to truly fail is to give up completely. As long as you keep trying, you're moving forward. Remember, belief is not a feeling. It's a practice. It's something you do, not something you wait for. You don't have to feel confident. To act, you just have to act, and confidence will follow. The more you keep your promises, the more you'll believe in your ability to keep them. The more you believe, the more you'll do.
Act.
We're to write a red or a brewer at some right we will I something now we was I was I was so with one small step. So what's one small promise you can make to yourself today? Not a big dramatic gesture, not a public declaration, just a quiet commitment between you and you. Maybe it's to get out of bed when your alarm goes off. Maybe it's to put your phone down for 10 minutes and just breathe. Maybe it's to write a single sentence in your journal. Whatever it is, make it doable. Make it real. And then do it. When you keep that promise, celebrate it. Acknowledge it. Let yourself feel proud, even if it seems insignificant. Because it's not insignificant. It's everything. The beginning of a new relationship with yourself. Relationship built on trust, on integrity, on follow-through. Over time, as you stack these small wins, you'll notice a shift. The voice of doubt will get quieter. The old stories will lose their grip. You'll start to see yourself differently, not as someone who talks about change, but as someone who lives it. Not as someone who dreams, but as someone who does. This is how belief is built. It's not in grand gestures, but in quiet moments of commitment. It's not in what you say, but in what you do. Not in the promises you make to impress others, but in the promises you keep to honor yourself. So start small. Start today. Make one promise. Keep it. Then make another and another. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Let your consistency become your confidence. Let your small wins become the foundation of a life you're proud to live, because in the end, it's not the big words that change your life. It's the small promises you keep day after day that prove to you beyond any doubt that you are capable of becoming someone new. And that is where true belief begins. Everyone has something they avoid. It might be a difficult conversation, a decision you keep postponing, a project you never start, or a truth you don't want to face. Sometimes it's a phone call you dread, an apology you owe, a dream you keep on the shelf, or a habit you know is holding you back. Whatever it is, you know it's there. It sits quietly in the back of your mind, draining your energy, weighing you down, making you feel stuck. Avoidance is a silent thief. It steals your time, your confidence, your peace of mind. The more you avoid, the heavier it gets. The task itself might be small, but the weight of not doing it grows every day. You tell yourself you'll get to it tomorrow, or next week, or when you feel ready, but tomorrow never comes, and the list of things you're avoiding gets longer and longer. Why do we avoid? Sometimes it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of discomfort. Sometimes it's perfectionism. Belief that if you can't do it perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. Sometimes it's just the habit of putting things off, of choosing comfort over growth, staying safe instead of stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth. The things you avoid don't go away. They don't disappear if you ignore them. They wait for you. They grow in the shadows, becoming bigger and scarier the longer you leave them alone. And the more you avoid, the more you teach yourself that you can't handle hard things. You reinforce the story that you're not strong enough, not brave enough, not capable enough. But what if you did the opposite? What if instead of running from the thing you fear, you faced it head on? What if you stopped letting avoidance control your life and started taking your power back, one uncomfortable step at a time? Start by naming the thing you're avoiding. Be honest with yourself. Write it down, say it out loud, bring it into the light. The simple act of naming it takes away some of its power. It's no longer a vague, looming threat. Something real, something you can face. Next, ask yourself why you're avoiding it. Is it really as scary as you think? What's the worst that could happen if you faced it? What's the best that could happen? Often the fear of the thing is worse than the thing itself. The anxiety builds in your mind, but the moment you take action, the power shifts back to you. Now, take one small step. Toward it, you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to solve the whole problem in a day. Take one action, send the email, make the call, start the project, have the conversation, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if you're scared. The point isn't to be fearless. The point is to move forward in spite of your fear. Every time you face something you've been avoiding, you build strength. You prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you can do hard things, that you are not a prisoner of your fears. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone who runs, but as someone who stands their ground. Avoidance is a habit, but so is courage. The more you practice facing what you fear, the easier it becomes. The more you act, the less power your fears have over you. You start to trust yourself, to believe in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Think about the energy you spend avoiding, the mental gymnastics, the excuses, the stress of knowing there's something you should be doing but aren't. Now imagine what would happen if you redirected that energy into action. Imagine the relief, the pride, the freedom you'd feel if you finally did the thing you've been avoiding. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about choosing growth over comfort, progress over perfection, action over avoidance. It's about deciding that your dreams, your goals, your peace of mind are worth a little discomfort. Sometimes, the thing you're avoiding is the very thing that will change your life. The conversation you don't want to have could heal a relationship. The project you keep putting off could open new doors. The habit you refuse to break could unlock a new level of health and happiness. The truth you don't want to face could set you free. You don't have to do it alone. Ask for support if you need it. Talk to a friend, a mentor, a coach. Share your fears, your struggles, your hopes. Sometimes just saying it out loud makes it less scary. Sometimes having someone in your corner gives you the courage to take the first step. Remember, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you stretch, when you reach, when you do the thing you thought you couldn't do. It happens when you stop running and start facing. So what are you avoiding? What's the one thing that if you faced it today would make everything else feel lighter? What's the one action that would move you forward, even if just a little? Write it down, make a plan, take the first step. And when you do, notice how you feel. Notice the shift in your energy, your confidence, your sense of possibility. Notice how the world seems a little less heavy, a little more open. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you know. You are capable of facing whatever comes your way. The things you avoid don't define you. It's the actions you take do. So face the one thing you've been avoiding. Do it today. Do it scared. Do it imperfectly. But do it, because on the other side of avoidance is freedom. On the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of discomfort is the life you've been waiting for. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. Just have to start. And when you do, you'll discover that you are more powerful, more resilient, more unstoppable than you ever imagined. This is your invitation to stop running, to stop hiding, to stop letting fear make your decisions. This is your moment to step into your power, to reclaim your life, to become the person you were always meant to be. Face the one thing you've been avoiding.
Ow.
Your future self will thank you. There's a myth that keeps more dreams buried than failure ever could. It's the myth of readiness. The idea that one day you'll wake up and suddenly feel prepared, confident, and motivated enough to finally start. You tell yourself, I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll begin when I'm less scared, when I have more time, when I'm sure I won't fail. But that day never comes. The truth is, waiting to feel ready is just another form of avoidance. It's a comfortable excuse that keeps you safe, but also keeps you stuck. Readiness is a feeling, and feelings are fickle. They change with the weather, with your mood, with a single comment from someone else. If you build your life around waiting for the right feeling, you'll spend your whole life waiting. The people who achieve cool things, who transform their lives, who break out of old patterns, they don't wait to feel ready. They move before they're ready. They act in the presence of fear, not in the absence of it. Think about the moments in your life when you actually made a change. Maybe it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, ending a relationship, or trying something you'd never done before. Were you truly ready? Or did you just decide that staying the same was no longer an option? Most real change happens not because you feel ready, but because you feel fed up. You reach a point where the pain of staying stuck outweighs the fear of moving forward. The truth is, you don't need to feel ready to take action. You need to take action to feel ready. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. The first step is always the hardest, not because it's physically difficult, but because it requires you to move without a guarantee. It requires you to trust that you'll figure it out as you go. Motivation is a feeling, and like all feelings, it comes and goes. If you rely on motivation to get started, you'll only act when you feel inspired, and that's not often enough to create real change. Momentum, on the other hand, is built by doing. It's built by showing up, even when you don't want to, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain. The more you act, the more you want to act. The more you move, the more you want to move. Momentum is a force you create, not something you wait for. So how do you stop waiting to feel ready? You start by lowering the bar. Don't wait for the perfect plan, the perfect mood, the perfect moment. Just do anything that moves you forward. Make the call, send the email, write the first sentence, take the first step. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. You'll be surprised by how quickly action changes your state. The fear that felt overwhelming shrinks the moment you start moving. The doubts that seem so loud get quieter when you're focused on doing, not thinking. The longer you wait, the bigger your fears become. The sooner you act, the smaller they get. It's not about being reckless. It's about being willing to move with uncertainty. It's about trusting yourself to handle whatever comes up, even if you don't have all the answers. You don't need a guarantee. You don't need a roadmap. You just need to start. Every time you act without feeling ready, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you can figure things out as you go, that you are more capable than you thought. You stop being a victim of your feelings and start being the creator of your life. There will always be reasons to wait. There will always be fears, doubts, and what-ifs. But there will never be a perfect moment. The only way to create the life you want is to start before you feel ready. to move before you have permission, to act before you have certainty. Ask yourself, what have you been waiting to feel ready for? What dream, goal, or change have you put on hold because you're waiting for the right time? What would happen if you stopped waiting and started moving? What's the smallest step you could take today, even if you don't feel ready? You don't have to leap. You just have to step. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. You don't have to know everything. You just have to begin. The people you admire, the ones who seem so confident and accomplished, they weren't born ready. They became ready by moving. They built their confidence by doing the thing, not by waiting for the feeling. They learned as they went. They failed. They stumbled. They got back up. And with every step, they became more ready, more capable, more unstoppable. You can do the same. You can choose action over hesitation, momentum over motivation, progress over perfection. You can decide right now that you're done waiting for a feeling that may never come. You can decide that your dreams are worth the risk, the discomfort, the uncertainty. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start moving. Start now. Start scared. Start unsure. Start messy. But start. Because the only way to win is to play. The only way. To grow is to go. The only way to believe in yourself is to act again and again. Until belief becomes your new normal, you don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for confidence. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. You just need to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. Before you know it, you'll look back and realize you were ready all along. You just needed to prove it to yourself. And the only way to do that is to begin. Asterisk, speak up for yourself, even when it shakes. Asterisk. There comes a point in every journey of self-belief when you realize that your voice matters. Not just the voice you use with others, but the voice you use with yourself. For too long, you may have swallowed your thoughts, hidden your opinions, and nodded along just to keep the peace. You've stayed quiet in moments that mattered, let others talk over you, made choices you didn't agree with all to avoid conflict or discomfort. But deep down, you know that keeping the peace on the outside has cost you your peace on the inside. Speaking up for yourself isn't about being loud or argumentative. It's not about proving anyone wrong or winning every debate. It's about honoring your truth, even when your voice shakes. It's about saying what needs to be said so you don't keep living in silence. It's about standing up when something doesn't feel right, trusting your own voice enough to let it be heard. Even if it's trembling, most people who stay quiet aren't doing it because they have nothing to say. They're doing it because, somewhere along the way, they started believing their words didn't matter. Maybe they were made to feel too small. Maybe they were taught to stay polite at all costs. Maybe every time they spoke up in the past, someone shut them down. Over time, that silence became normal. It became the safer choice. It became a habit. But it's a habit that slowly breaks your connection with yourself. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't have to keep holding your breath to make others comfortable. You don't have to agree with everything just to be liked. And you don't have to carry guilt for speaking with honesty. If something bothers you, you have every right to say it. If something matters to you, you have every right to stand behind it. You don't need permission to value your thoughts. You don't need approval to express what's real to you. It's not about being perfect when you speak. It's about being real. It's about showing up as you are. It's about trusting that your needs are valid, your feelings are worth hearing, and your boundaries deserve to be respected. That's not selfish. That's called self-respect. And without it, people will keep treating you the way you allow them to. If you keep staying silent when you should speak, you're teaching others to ignore you, and you're teaching yourself that your voice isn't worth using. That's a habit you have to break. You've spent enough time holding back. You've carried enough stress by pretending. You were fine when you weren't. You've let too many things slide that never should have. And that weight adds up. It builds pressure, it creates resentment, and worst of all, it makes you feel invisible. You're not powerless. You just haven't been using the one thing that can change everything. Your voice. Start small. Speaking up doesn't have to mean making a scene or starting a fight. It can be as simple as saying no when something doesn't feel right, speaking honestly, even when it's uncomfortable, telling someone you need space, or asking for what you want without apologizing for it. These are not huge acts on the outside, but they are life-changing on the inside. Because every time you speak up for yourself, you're rebuilding your belief, reminding yourself that your voice matters. You're proving to yourself that you can handle honesty. Here's the truth. People may not always like it when you speak up. Some might get uncomfortable. Some might push back. That's okay. It's not your job to manage their feelings. It's your job to stay honest with your own. You're not being difficult. You're not being dramatic. You're not being disrespectful. You're being clear. You're being human. And if someone can't handle your honesty, they're not someone you need to keep pleasing. You've done enough of that. You've put others first long enough. You've silenced yourself just to fit in. But you're not here to live someone else's version of life. You're here to live yours. And that requires courage, the kind of courage that shows up in conversations that feel risky. The kind of courage that holds eye contact when you say, "That's not okay with me." The kind of courage that doesn't shrink itself just to avoid tension. You'll never be fully at peace with yourself if you keep holding back the truth. You can try to bury it, distract yourself, justify your silence, but that truth will always find a way back to you. It will show up in stress, in fatigue, in moments where you feel like you're losing yourself. It's not life being hard. That's your voice trying to wake you up. It's time to stop living in fear of being misunderstood. People will misunderstand you, whether you stay silent or speak up. You might as well be misunderstood for being honest than liked for being fake. At least then, you're living in alignment with who you are. At least then, you're choosing respect over approval. That's how confidence grows, not from being perfect, but from being real and staying real, even when it's uncomfortable. Don't wait until you're not afraid. Speak anyway. Say it kindly. Say it clearly. Say it with combat. Say it. Because nothing changes until you do. No one can hear what you never say. No one can honor a boundary you never set. No one can. Guess what you really want? If you want your life to change, your voice has to be part of that change. It has to be included. It has to be active. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be honest. Even if it's awkward, even if your voice shakes, even if you're not sure how it'll be received. That's how you build trust with yourself. That's how you stop feeling like a stranger in your own life. That's how you stop carrying guilt for speaking truths that were never meant to stay hidden. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be heard. You are allowed to want things. You're allowed to have limits. You are allowed to speak your mind without feeling like you owe anyone an apology. And the more you practice that, the stronger you get. Not louder, stronger. Strong in the way you carry yourself. Strong in how you make decisions. Strong in how you handle relationships. And when you start speaking up, something powerful happens. You stop settling. You stop pretending. You stop agreeing to things that drain you. And you start creating a life that actually reflects who you aren't, the version of you that's quiet and agreeable, but the version of you that's clear and alive. That version of you is all ready. Inside, it's just been waiting for you to stop playing small. It's been waiting for you to speak not once, not when it's easy, but every day, in every way, in every place where your truth matters. Because once you speak up for yourself, and you stop feeling bad about it, you take your power back. And once you have that, nobody gets to decide your worth again. Asterisks show up daily, even when you don't feel like it. Asterisk. Consistency is the quiet superpower behind every transformation. It's not glamorous, it's not always exciting, and it rarely gets celebrated. But it's the difference between wishing for change and actually living it. Most people think they need to feel inspired or motivated to take action. But the truth is, the most important days to show up are the ones when you don't feel like it at all. There will be mornings when you wake up and nothing feels right. Your body is heavy, your mind is foggy, and you question everything. The urge to pull back, to cancel your plans, to delay your tasks, to make excuses, it's strong. It's easy to tell yourself, "I'll try again tomorrow," or "I'll get back on track next week." But every time you give in to that feeling, you reinforce a pattern. If I don't feel good, I don't have to try. That pattern is the enemy of growth. Feelings are temporary. They rise and fall, shift with the weather, change with a single comment or a passing thought. If you build your life around your feelings, you'll build an unstable life. You'll make progress for a week, then crash for 2. You'll feel unstoppable one day, then disappear the next. That's why you have to learn to show up regardless. Not because it's easy, not because you're always motivated, but because you've decided that your future matters more than your mood. Showing up daily is an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that you are worthy of effort, even on your worst days. It's a promise to yourself that you will not abandon your goals just because you're tired, frustrated, or uncertain. It's about honoring your commitments, not your emotions. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to achieve so much, who build incredible things, who live with purpose and passion. They're not superhuman, not immune to bad days or self-doubt. What sets them apart is their willingness to show up again and again, no matter how they feel. They understand that consistency is what builds momentum, and momentum is what creates results. Momentum is a powerful force. It's what carries you forward when motivation fades. It's what makes the next step easier, and the one after that even easier still. But momentum doesn't happen by accident. It's built, one day at a time, through small, repeated actions. It's built by showing up, even when you'd rather hide. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to keep coming back. If you miss a day, don't let it turn into a week. If you fall off track, don't use it as an excuse to quit. Forgive yourself, reset, and start again. Progress is not a straight line. It's a series of starts and stops, of falling down and getting back up. There will be days when your best effort is just getting out of bed. There will be days when you can only manage the bare minimum. It's okay. What matters is that you keep showing up, that you keep moving forward, that you refuse to let a bad day become a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year. Consistency is how you build trust with yourself. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are committed, that you are someone who follows through. That trust is the foundation of self-belief. It's what allows you to take bigger risks, to dream bigger dreams, to keep going when things get hard. It's easy to be consistent when you're excited, when everything is new, when you're seeing results. So a real test is what you do when the excitement fades, when progress stalls, when you're tired and discouraged. That's when most people quit. That's when most people go back to their old habits. But if you can keep showing up, even in those moments, you'll separate yourself from the crowd. You'll become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about change, but lives it. So how do you build consistency? Start by making it as easy as possible to show up. Remove the obstacles, lower the barriers, simplify your routines. Don't rely on willpower. Alone set up your environment to support your goals. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep your journal on your nightstand. Prep your meals in advance. Make it harder to skip than to start. Track your progress, no matter how small. Celebrate your wins, even if they seem insignificant. Every day you show up is a victory. Every day you keep your promise is a step forward. Over time, those small wins add up, become habits, and habits become identity. Remember, you are not your feelings. You are not your bad days, not your setbacks. You are the sum of your actions, repeated over time. You are the person who shows up. No matter what, there will always be reasons to quit. There will always be excuses, distractions, and obstacles. But there will also always be a reason to keep going, your future. The life you want is built in the moments when you choose effort over comfort, discipline over distraction, progress over perfection. Show up daily, even when you don't feel like it. Show up for your goals, for your dreams, for your future self. Show up because you deserve to see what happens when you don't give up. Show up because every day is a new chance to become the person you want to be. In the end, it's not the big moments that define you. It's the small, consistent actions you take, day after day, that shape your life. It's the decision to keep going, to keep trying, to keep believing even when it's hard. So make the choice. show up today. Show up tomorrow. Show up every day, no matter how you feel, because the person you become is built in the days you don't want to try, in the moments you push through. It's when the quiet victories no one else sees. That's how you build a life you're proud of. That's how you achieve cool things. That's how you become someone who truly believes in themselves. Not because it was easy, but because you showed up again and again until belief became your reality. There comes a moment after all the small steps, the hard choices, the uncomfortable truths, when you realize you're not the same person you used to be. You look back and see the old patterns, the old doubts, the old stories, and you notice they don't fit you anymore. You've outgrown them. You've built something new, one action at a time, one promise at a time, one day at a time. Reclaiming your power isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you really are beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and old beliefs. It's about seeing yourself clearly, maybe for the first time, and realizing that you are the author of your own story. You always have been. The world will try to hand you scripts about what's possible, about who you're allowed to be, about how far you can go. Okay, but those scripts are written by people who don't know your heart, your dreams, your potential. Only you can write the story that's true for you. You reclaim your power every time you choose action over avoidance. Every time you speak your truth, every time you show up for yourself, even when it's hard. You reclaim your power when you stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself the freedom to try, to fail, to learn, to grow. The new story you write doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to be honest. It has to be yours. Maybe your new story is about courage, the courage to do the things you once thought were impossible. Maybe it's about resilience, the ability to get back up again and again, no matter how many times you fall. Maybe it's about kindness to yourself, to others, to the world around you. Whatever your story is, let it be one of possibility. Let it be one where you are the main character, not a side note in someone else's narrative. Let it be one where you take risks, make mistakes, and keep moving forward. Let it be one where you believe in yourself, not because someone else told you to, but because you've seen what you're capable of. Stack your small wins. Celebrate your progress. Notice the moments when you choose differently, when you act with intention, when you honor your word. These are the moments that build your new identity. These are the moments that prove to you over and over that you are not your past. You're not your failures. You're not your doubts. You are the sum of your actions, your choices. Your courage let go of the old beliefs that say you're not enough, that you can't change, that your dreams are too big. Those beliefs were never yours to begin with. They were borrowed from other people's fears, other people's limitations. You don't have to carry them anymore. Write your new story with boldness. Write it with hope. Write it with the understanding that you are always becoming, always growing, always capable of more than you think. The story isn't finished. Next chapter is unwritten, and you get to decide what happens next. Maybe you start small, maybe you stumble, maybe you doubt yourself along the way. That's okay. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up again and again. Until the new story feels more real than the old one, you are not here to live a life of quiet desperation. You are here to live a life of meaning, of purpose, of joy. You are here to make a difference, to leave your mark, to become the person you were always meant to be. So reclaim your power. Take back your pen. Write your new story. One choice at a time. One day at a time. Let your actions speak louder than your doubts. Let your courage outshine your fears. Let your belief in yourself become the foundation for everything you do. And when you look back months or years from now, you'll see just how far you've come. You'll see the mountain you climbed, the obstacles you overcame, the person you became along the way. You'll realize that the limits you once believed in were never real. They were just old stories, waiting to be rewritten. This is your life. This is your story. Don't just believe in yourself, prove to yourself every single day that you were worth believing in all along. The world is waiting for your new story. Start writing it now.